Ready.
All right. All right. We are now being joined by Lyoto Machida. We'll begin with a few questions from the media joining us virtually today. Jay Anderson, your line is now live.
Hey, thanks very much. And Lyoto,
Jay, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Jay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Go ahead.
Great stuff. Sorry about that. Lyoto, you've had such a long and very successful career, so it's rare to really think of you doing something new, but a Grand Prix is something you haven't taken part in before in MMA, I don't believe. So what are your thoughts on the tournament, and what would winning it mean to you?
I really like this opportunity because I believe that only the best light heavyweight fighters will be present in this event, will be in this event. That's why for me it's a great opportunity, and also I feel respectful. I feel like it's a great chance to to showcase all my job. Like for me it means a lot because after almost 20 years of long career, and that's a great moment for me. I always try to motivate myself, and that's why I'm here.
And Demetrius Johnson recently said that his favorite belt is the tournament belt that he won in one championship. Really, would winning the Grand Prix mean more to you than winning the belt in this tournament, or does the belt still matter most?
It's a different things, you know, because when you have the Grand Prix, you have a different format. You have different type of competition that you already know probably when and who you're gonna fight next, and you cannot escape from that. Like for example, if you go to another event, sometimes they put somebody in front of you. They can take your chance because they have more name. In Grand Prix, no, you have just to obey the rules because there is a break that if you pass, you confirm to the next fight. And for me, I like this type of competition because in karate, in amateur sports, is always like that. You have to just to follow all the winning, and you're gonna be the next for sure. That's why for me, I like this competition.
Damon, go ahead.
Lyoto, you as a former UFC light heavyweight champion, you obviously fought in that promotion and saw how that light heavyweight division was, and you saw the talent in there. When you look at the talent that is assembled in this Grand Prix, how would you compare it in terms of how good the Bellator roster has gotten, especially at light heavyweight?
So I believe in light heavyweight right now, Bellator has a good group of fighters. So that's why they decide to do the Grand Prix. And UFC, of course, they have best fighters, better fighters too, great fighters too. But since we are here in Bellator, so I can believe that for me, the best fighters are here and in light heavyweight right now. Of course, you have a very good fighters in UFC as well. UFC is considered one of the biggest events. So it's hard to compare. Everyone has their own entourage, own group of fighters. So you have just respect to that. And who knows, one day they can put one against other.
Lyoto, I know you've rarely addressed things like your retirement because you said, I think you said a couple of years ago, you said you still have 3 or 4 good years left, and I'm not trying to retire you, but if you were able to go out there and win this Grand Prix and become champion now, considering the field of talent that's out there, I mean, do you feel like that would be a pretty incredible achievement towards the latter part of your career?
Of course, but we cannot forget that I always try to live the moment. No, I always try to think in the present moment. I cannot foresee anything in the future. That's why I try to live every single minutes of my life in this moment. As a human being, I just said here that you tend to go to the future, you tend to plan everything, or you tend to be stuck in the past. But the hard task is to keep yourself in the moment. In this moment, I just have this fight against Bader, and I have a long path ahead of me. That's why I cannot say anything about retirement or about future. But I have everything in my mind. I have everything that what I have to do until I want to do, until I believe that I still can do.
Tony.
Lyoto, thanks for your time this evening. My question is, how, having achieved so much in your career, how do you continue to stay motivated?
So first of all, I like to challenge. I like to challenge myself. I like challenges, and since when I started my career, was about challenge myself. You know, when I was 70 years old, I was supposed to compete in the first MMA competition in my state in Brazil, but they withdrew me because I was like under 18 years old. They consider, but for me that moment was like a challenge. You know, I was, of course, everybody has a fear, everybody has like anxiety, stuff like that, but to challenge that is the most important thing. That's why I still have been competing in my career, because I like to challenge myself. I like to face different things, and for me this Grand Prix is a new moment for me. And I like to go to the academy every day. If you still have that, I consider you still motivated to training and to achieve whatever you want to achieve. It has nothing to do with age or physical condition, because physical condition you can get there if you're training, and the motivation is in your mind. If you have something you have to achieve, you can do that. But that's why I consider that I'm still motivated to do what I want to do.
Thank you.
Gavin, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Gavin Austin with Behind the Grind, and Lyoto, I just have one question for you. You're coming off of 2 split decision losses to top competition here in Bellator, so I want to ask you how you view those 2 losses. Are you less confident because those 2 losses are just there on your record, or perhaps you're gaining confidence because one of the judges for both those fights said you won? Does that make you feel like you can still come out victorious against top-level fighters?
I really don't think about the past, you know. So of course, right after my last fight and my fight against Musas, I was kind of upset right after the fight, because as a professional competitor, you want to perform the best way possible. But uh, even when I win some fight, I forget that, because that winning, that's not gonna give me any step ahead of my opponent just because I won the fight. No, same thing with about the losses. So I just went back to my home, fix everything that I had to fix, and see a new moment as a new competition for me, a new moment for me. Try to forget everything and work in my mind to do my best in every single moment of the fight.
Ronald.
Thank you. This is Ronald E. Smith from Getting Real. Lyoto, you you already straight out said that you don't think about the past or the future. You think about the present, and the present right now is Ryan Bader. So, for yourself in this fight, what is it about this rematch with him that excites you for it?
So I'm so excited, not just because it's a rematch, but because I have a big task ahead of me, and I'm so excited. And I had a great camp. I had a great preparation for this moment. And of course, as a fighter, as a professional fighter, and all, and our, as a competitor, you always have this thing within you, this will to win, and that sometimes provoke some type of anxiety. I said, of course, as a human being, I want to think in the future, but I keep my mind in the present. That's the hard thing for me. That's why I like to compete, because the fight week is the moment that I have to concentrate more. I have to put all the knowledge that I have about mind in this present moment.
Darnell.
Hi, Lyoto. Thank you so much for the time. Last time during the Bellator press conference, you came out in a cut-off sleeve kimono. Will we be seeing more of this going forward in the future?
If I use kimono, but what is the question? If I will we see more of that? Of course. That's the way that I like to dress. Even with I'm at home, I use that and I cook to my family. When I use that kimono, I feel like my Japanese side is so can afford much more, can be out much more, and I like to use that because my father taught me how to dress like that. And I brought my gi. I always travel and I brought my gi. If I have some circumstances that I have to use, I'm gonna use for sure.
That's awesome. And also, you've been spending some time with Glover Teixeira. What's the importance of training with somebody as Glover?
So Glover Teixeira we are partners from so long time. We are friends, and since when Glover was in Brazil, he was in the UFC. We already trained together in 2009. We start training together, and since then we always see each other in training. I went to his academy sometimes, and Glover, he joined us for this camp and was not only Glover but Poatan, Alex Pereira, the Glory champion. They join us too, and others wrestlers. Bubba Shuffle is a good guy, is a good wrestler. Julian from the Fusion Academy, and Rodolfo Vieira, other guys, tough guys that was a part of the camp. Everybody helps somehow, and a little bit, and we can put together and make a great camp.
Santiago.
Hello, Lyoto. Thank you for the time. In 2019, you fought against Gegard Mousasi, and this was a very close and competitive fight at middleweight. Now you are back at light heavyweight. Did you completely close the book on middleweight?
No yet. I'm pretty open for that. But now I enjoy this moment in the light heavyweight because I believe the big dudes over there, and it's a moment that I have to challenge myself, like always, and for me to be a part of this Grand Prix is a great thing. But I'm pretty open to 185 as well.
And then last one for me. Bellator is on Showtime now. You are headlining the second Bellator event on Showtime. Does this new broadcasting partner for Bellator excite you? And can you already see a difference?
I could see some differences here in the backstage, but I have no comments about that because Showtime is a big, they have a big broadcast. And for me, actually, as a fighter, I cannot think about the broadcast. You know what I mean? Like Showtime, I knew Showtime for so long time. But for me, what matters now is just the fight, man.
All right, we have time for one or two more here. Dylan?
Hey there, Lyoto. How's it going?
Good.
I just had a quick question just as a bit of an aside here, just because your brother there, Chinzo Machida, just with the past with Bellator as well, but been a little bit since he's competed. Is there any word from him in as far as competing in Bellator again? And as an extension of that, would you be interested in maybe sharing a card with Chinzo in the future, or would that be more of a stressful dynamic than an enjoyable one?
I believe that's not going to happen anymore because Shinzo, he's already retired. He put his focus in another thing. He's running the academy, and also he's do our associations and Machida Karate Association. Shinzo, he shifted his focus right now, because as we know, we cannot wear two shoes in the same foot. That's the way the Japanese like to say. And Shinzo now is out of the competition, out of the MMA career. He's completely focusing on another thing.
Fair enough. Thanks for the time, Lyoto.
Thank you so much.
All right, and last question here comes from the line of Sophia Duran. Go ahead, Sophia.
Hey, Lyoto, how are you?
How are you? Good, thank you.
Lyoto, I have two questions for you, quick ones. My first question is, what has changed since in you because you have already faced Ryan Bader almost 10 years ago. So what have changed you since that first fight?
Man, so many things changed from since that moment, because it's hard to number these, to name these, because I've been changed a lot. If you said something about my last fight, I already changed since my last fight. That's why I imagine it like 8 years ago. I have changed so much, and it's hard to say something about that, but I can say that I always give my best. I always train hard, and I was looking for improvements.
All right. Thank you very much for the time, Lyoto. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate this moment.
Next up is Liz Carmouche. All right, we are now being joined by Liz Carmouche. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Join us virtually. Go ahead, Tony.
Hi, Liz. Hope you're well.
I am. Thank you. How are you?
Good. First question is, I mean, this fight, you're ranked at number 2 in the division, and you're fighting against someone who's unranked, and actually, to make their Bellator debut in this fight. It seems as if it's a very high risk reward for yourself. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I'd say that this is a position I keep finding myself in. It happened in the UFC as well, where there were quite a few instances in my last few fights where the person that was coming in wasn't even ranked, and there I was fighting them. I certainly don't think that she doesn't deserve a ranking. I think just because she hasn't fought in Bellator is the only reason she hasn't held one yet.
And last question, because I appreciate there's more people on the line. How nice was it to actually get the win under your belt for Bellator in your debut for the promotion? And did that take a lot of pressure off of your shoulders?
You know, I always keep pressure on my shoulders because I expect and idolize to have the best version of myself, and that's what I always push for. But it certainly did make a really good feeling to know that the chapter I'm starting with Bellator not only started with the win, but also started with the finish, which is what I really wanted to go out and make a statement about, was to go out there, have my hand raised, knowing that it wasn't a decision win, but actually a finish.
Brady?
Hi, Liz.
Hello.
Will you be looking to grapple with Porto despite her holding 11 submission wins?
Yeah, whether we're on the ground doesn't bother me. I mean, she can have 11 submission wins, but I'm a whole different beast that she hasn't faced before. It can be standing and me against the cage. It doesn't matter where we go. It's something I'm prepared for and ready and looking forward to.
Gavin?
Hello. If you get this win on Friday at Bellator 256, where do you think that puts you with the rest of the division?
I think if nothing else, just based on the rankings, a win would put me in title contention. If they're saying that I'm ranked 2-3, that I feel like that should automatically, just with this win, put me right on that track to going for that belt.
Ronald, go ahead.
Hello, Liz. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Can't complain. I'm doing well. You've been in this game for so long,
And you have evolved each and every time. So for yourself, while you're getting prepared for Vanessa, how can you look at yourself and say how far you've come throughout your career?
Yeah, it is something I say is I try to evolve. I try and grow. The last thing I want to do is have stagnation and be that predictable fighter, not only for myself, but also because the fans get bored with that. Yeah, they like to know what they're going and what they're watching and who they're going out for. But I want to show them that no matter what area it is, that I'm always trying to work on something new and evolving. And every fight, that's what I'm trying to do, is grow and be the best version of myself, add more tools to my game, and showcase all the tools and everything that I've been working on.
thank you very much.
Abraham?
Hi, Liz. Abraham from the Fight League Report here. I was wondering, how do you feel this fight will play out? As you mentioned, she is unranked because she's possibly unranked since this is her first Bellator fight, but she has fought some big names outside of Bellator, including Chris Cyborg. How do you feel this fight is going to play out?
I think it's going to be a really good fight because it's going to allow us. We're both mixed martial artists. It's not like one of us is strong in just one area. We're able to adapt and overcome for whatever that area happens to be, whatever that specialty. So I see it going anywhere that we need to. I think both of us are going to be hunting for that finish and for those opportunities. So it's going to make it really exciting for the fans. But ultimately, what's going to end the night is my hand raised for the win.
Pablo?
Okay, Liz, the first thing I want to ask you is, you only fought once on 2020. How many times do you want to fight on 2021?
I'm hoping to fight in 2021 as often as I can. I'm really hoping at minimum 3 fights this year. If I can get more than that, awesome. But I'm really pushing to get 3 fights this year.
Max?
Hi, I'm Max Morales from MMA Pit, and we saw you fighting in Mexico. We saw your debut fighting for a belt against Ronda Rousey. You fought for that 135. You fought for 125 belt, and now you're fighting in Bellator in your second fight. In which chapter of your career do you feel you are in?
I think I'm in the chapter where I finally actually have the belt. I started off and I didn't have the advantage like other fighters of having an amateur career really grow and learn and make mistakes. Unfortunately, I spent the early years of my professional career doing that. And I feel like I've learned from all those mistakes, and I've really been able to push past those and start evolving for the fighter that I want to be. And now this chapter is me showing everything that I've learned and being able to showcase that in a flashy and awesome way.
All right, we'll take 1 or 2 more here. Maria?
Hi, Liz. Maria Morales from the Throwing Bows podcast. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
All right. So just really quickly, you are in a position right now where you just won your first Bellator match. You had a stunning debut, and now you're fighting a fighter that's coming from Invicta on a 4-win streak in her debut. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you plan on maybe using that excited energy that she's going to be coming into this fight with against her to get the win?
Yeah, I think that coming into a different organization, whether you're coming off wins or losses, it comes with a different energy and a different anticipation and expectation on yourself. So I expect that that's going to put some wear and tear in her, a little bit differences than what she's used to. So I'm looking to capitalize on that, as well as hoping that she'll be a little bit overzealous and overconfident, make mistakes, and I'll be able to pick apart those holes in her game because of it.
So if you had to predict how you win this fight, how do you win this fight on Friday?
You know, I'm one of those people, I picture it everywhere because I try to prepare for everything, but it's always with my hand in there.
Santiago?
Hello, Liz. Thank you for the time. The women's flyweight division is absolutely stacked in Bellator. Denise Kielholtz is ranked at number 3, just one position behind you. Was a fight between you and Denise Kielholtz ever discussed?
Not yet. I mean, this is Deanna was the first one. Now this is the second. There was not really any wind of any other fights, but I'm open-minded to whatever puts me in title contention.
Good luck on fight night.
Thank you.
All right, last one here, Will.
Hey, Liz, this is Will Getling from the Fight Gods podcast. It was a strange move by the UFC to cut you after losing a title fight with Valentina. And since you came to Bellator, it seems like you have something to prove. What is it that you want to prove in Bellator?
The biggest thing is just showcasing everything that I have. I've been in this for a long time, and I've learned a lot of things along the way. And I want to be able to show all the skills I have. And I don't feel like there's a lot of opportunities to do that. But with Bellator, you know, I had a chance my last fight, and I was able to show some of it. And now I have another opportunity to showcase even more.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the time, Liz, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Next up is Vanessa Porto. All right, we are now being joined by Vanessa Porto. We'll begin with a few questions from the media joining us virtually. Tony, your line is now live.
Hi, Vanessa. Just wanted to ask you what it meant to actually finally get to make your Bellator debut and what it feels like for you.
Como é que você está se sentindo fazendo seu debut aqui no Bellator?
Eu estou feliz, estou contente. Quero agradecer muito a oportunidade de estar podendo fazer a minha estreia aqui. Então, eu só tenho a agradecer. Estou muito feliz.
I'm really happy for the opportunity and super grateful for the organization to giving me this chance. And that's all that I could say and express my gratitude for the organization.
Thank you.
All right, Maria.
Hi, Vanessa. Really quickly, it appears, well, you have not really been active since 2019 with, just no fights last year. Can you tell me a little bit about how you think that's going to affect your performance in your debut?
Como é que você acha que você vai, se sentir indo para esse debut e como é que você acha que vai ser?
Olá, tudo bom? Pois é, né? A gente está aí na expectativa. Na verdade, estou trabalhando bastante no Muay Thai. Na verdade, eu tô tão feliz que tem hora que eu não sei nem o que falar, mas, enfim, a luta vai ser bastante na trocação. Vou sair um pouco do raio de ação dela, né? Assistir ela, entender ela, o movimento dela e poder fazer o meu jogo.
I know I keep saying this, but I'm just super grateful, and I'm also excited to show just my skill set going into this fight, to be able to watch exactly watch what she's doing and be able to counter with my skills. I'm really excited to show that.
Awesome. And last one from me. You are currently a slight underdog in this fight. Can you tell us a little bit about what you feel you will need to do to come out of the cage victorious?
O que você acha que você vai ter que fazer para ganhar? Com essa situação, eu acho que você está um pouco underdog quando você olha. O que você acha que você vai ter que fazer para ganhar essa luta?
Na verdade, eu nocautear por ponto ou finalizar, mas na verdade assim, né? A gente vem com treinamento, mas na luta ali tudo pode mudar, tudo pode acontecer diferente e a gente fazer uma outra estratégia, mas eu pretendo sim trabalhar bastante meu Muay Thai ali e quem sabe chegar ao nocaute.
Looking for that finish, whether it's a submission or a knockout, but in reality of things, you only can see how it's going to go when you get in there. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to standing up and showing my Muay Thai and finishing her.
Will? Vanessa, Will here from the Fight Gods podcast. You've had a storied career. You've fought some big-time legends like Roxanne, Jermaine Durandamy, Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, all kinds of great fighters. Where would this fight rank in your career highlights, and what would it mean to you to put another legend on your list of victories?
Vanessa, você já lutou muita galera do esporte que é lenda. Você viu os nomes que eles falou aí. O que você acha que essa luta vai fazer para você e o que vai ser ter uma vitória sobre ela?
Olha, na verdade, o que eu posso falar é que, como eu estou estreando, eu estou chegando e eu só quero poder mostrar o meu trabalho para a galera, fazer o meu nome no evento. E eu acho que possível aí, se eu ganhar essa luta, eu vou ganhar. Sei lá, futuro aí um cinturão, né? Que na verdade são a maioria que almeja chegar no cinturão. Então, vamos esperar essa oportunidade aí.
Going into this fight, I'm just focused on myself, not so much the people that I have fought or, the name that I'm fighting, no matter who it was in front of me. I'm just really focused on being able to go out on this debut and really show my skill set and who I am as a fighter. When I win come Friday night, whether it's a title shot or whether it's, somebody else that's ranked, it doesn't matter. I'm just here to show the organization what I'm about.
All right, we'll take one or two more. Max?
Hi, I'm Max from MMA Pit. Vanessa, you already won an Invicta FC championship. You are on a 4-fight winning streak against big names. you were kinda in a position to choose. Why did you choose Bellator? Did you feel more comfortable with the treatment?
Você era campeão lá da Invicta. Você já ganhou 4 lutas em seguidas. Por que você escolheu o Bellator? Por que você queria acabar aqui?
Porque foi, na verdade, a melhor escolha que eu fiz. E, meu, é que eu saí de um evento, não vou dizer assim, um evento pequeno, mas uma proporção menor, mas também que era uma proporção grande, gigante de mídia. E foi uma oportunidade que eu tive e eu agarrei porque eu queria também mostrar para o pessoal o que eu sou capaz e mostrar meu trabalho. Então, eu acho que o Bellator, assim, me abraçou, me deu essa oportunidade. Então, com certeza, eu vou vestir a camisa. E eu estou muito feliz.
I got the opportunity to come to Bellator, which is a bigger event. Not to say anything about Invicta, I'm grateful for everything that they gave me there, but for what it's worth, Bellator came knocking and I'm running with the opportunity. I'm forever grateful for this organization. I'm excited to show you guys exactly what I can prove.
All right, last one here, Abraham.
Hello, Vanessa. I'm Abraham from the Fightly Report. As someone mentioned, you have fought legends, and now you're going to Bellator, and you're the former Invicta champion, but now you're fighting the number 2 ranked Liz Carmouche in Bellator. In your mind, is this a title eliminator fight?
Você já lutou muitas lendas. Agora você está lutando a pessoa que está número 2 na categoria. Você acha que quem ganhar essa luta deveria lutar pro cinturão?
Com certeza sim, porque, né, ela está no segundo no ranking e também ela tem a oportunidade, né, porque ela já está fazendo a segunda luta dela, eu estou estreando, mas sim, por que não? A gente sempre tem aquela oportunidade de poder estar disputando, se tem a oportunidade, e por que não, né? Vamos esperar e vamos aguardar.
I definitely think so, 100%, but it's all about opportunities in this industry. And as long as, I do my job out there and the organization's happy with me, then I think I deserve it, yes.
All right. Thank you for the time, Vanessa. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Goiti Yamauchi. If you have a question for Goiti, please press the raise hand button. We are now being joined by Goiti Yamauchi. Once again, we'll begin with a few questions from the media. Jay Anderson, your line is now live.
Hey, thanks very much. And Goiti, back in December, I believe you had some issues with your weight cut. And at the time, you'd suggested that maybe you wouldn't be fighting at lightweight again. If I'm not mistaken, this is a lightweight bout. What changed your mind in that front?
Well, I was after the weighing, after all the situation in the last fight that didn't happen. I was sure that I wouldn't compete in lightweight division anymore. But you know, I was so confused and I was so bummed out. I was sad because all those situations. Then I took a month off, just thinking about my career, my life, and all of a sudden, just I had a thought, and I was like, I got to get the belt of 155. I got to come back for the lightweight division. So it was something from my mind. I don't know. It wasn't, you know, it was just a insight that I had, and they told me to compete in the lightweight. Just make your last run for lightweight belt, and after that you can move up. But don't give up in this weight class. So, like I said, this is going to be my last shot for the belt. In the near future, people will see Goiti competing in welterweight division for sure.
All right. And, you know, in this one, you've got Dan Moret, who's making his Bellator debut here. So just give us your thoughts on the matchup with him.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Dan for taking this fight in short notice. Massive respect. I watched some couple of fights of Dan. He's a good and tough competitor. Good matchup of styles, and I hope to make a great fight. I think this is going to be the best fight in the Friday night for sure.
Will?
Hey, Goiti, this is Will from the Fight Gods podcast. I was wondering, you've had quite a run in Bellator where you've racked up a load of wins. You've won 3 in a row now. Do you think with a win Friday night, it's your time to get a title shot?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think I'm on my prime. I'm on my prime, and that's just the beginning of my prime. You know, I didn't have that, man's mature couple years ago when I fought Chandler. I thought it could be a champion, but I was lying to myself. He was a lot of levels above me. So that experience just taught me to be a little bit more humble and think about my life, my career, and see the reality. I was so immature to get this title, but right now I think I'm capable of to be a champion. So I'm ready. I'm ready, and I'm excited to see what I can do in the Friday night.
Tony?
Hi, Gotti. Hope you're well. As someone who's so close, and some will say within touching distance of a lightweight title shot, does it frustrate you that the title is actually sort of held up at the moment, given Patricio's involvement in the featherweight tournament?
No, I have patience. Yeah, but the situation of lightweight division is very confused. Patricio, he got the double. He's on the finals now, so we will have to wait a little bit more. But it's okay to me though. It's no problem. Like I said, I have patience. I'm here to compete with the best guys, and of course, my main goal is to be the champion. But I don't believe Bellator will make interim belt. So all I can say, I will have patience. I will try to fight the best guys in the division, and I will do my best.
Darnell?
Hi, this is Darnell with MMA Island. Goiti, how does it feel fighting on the same card as Lyoto Machida?
Well, that's great. Lyoto, He's a great fighter. I like him. He's just like me. He's half Japanese, half Brazilian. So it's cool. I saw him in the pictures in the photo shoot yesterday. Good guy. I like him a lot. He's a pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Max?
Hi, I'm Max Morales from MMA Pit, and you've been here for a while. Your last defeat was against Michael Chandler, and you were nearly fighting Patricio Pitbull. Now you're fighting a former UFC fighter. What are you looking to get out of this fight?
My focus now is to win this fight Friday night. Not just a win, but a good win. I expect a good win, and after that, I just want to. I will look for the title. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but that's all I want. I want the gold. I will face anybody that Bellator put in front of me, and I'll give my best. I'll keep asking for my chance for the title, but I know I got to earn it, and I will. I will earn it, and I will be the champion pretty soon.
Santiago?
Hi, Goiti. Thank you for the time. You have two guys in front of you in the lightweight division, Brent Primus and Patricky Pitbull, and both of them are fighting someone unranked next. Are you disappointed that you didn't get a fight with these two guys that are ranked in front of you?
Not at all. Not at all. I think because I think we will be facing each other pretty soon. So I think the next for all the top three will be facing each other somehow, some way. So I'm not disappointed at all. I think it's gonna happen pretty soon. Hopefully for interim belt or whatever for the next fight fighting for the title shot. So like I said, patience and timing. That's what it's all about. I'm waiting for my opportunity, and it's gonna happen. No rush.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ronald?
This is Ronald Smith from
Getting real. Go ahead. Thank you for your time. And just right now, you're about to fight, but the last time we saw you was back in 2019. So just like you were in your own world as we all were in 2020. So just to give a little knowledge of yourself, what was your head at during that time period when the whole world was up in a rut in 2020?
Yeah, I think it was a hard time, not just for me, but for anybody else in this world. It was not just hard, but was a time for confused and was different that everything that we've been through. So it wasn't different for me. It was quite a quite a bit hard, not just in the professional career, but in my personal life. I got some healthy issues, like just like everybody. But I think I could overcome all those problems, and here we are, stronger than ever, bulletproof mentality. Everything's fine right now, and I hope to get this win and prove to myself and to everybody that are watching me Friday night that I changed. I'm a I'm a different fighter now, so I'm excited to see that.
All right, we have time for one or two more here. Maria?
Hi, Goiti. Maria Morales with the Throwing Bows podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
All right, thank you so much. So, just two quick questions for you. The first one being that your opponent, Dan, goes by the Hitman, but it's a little deceiving considering that he's racked up 7 submission wins at this point in his professional career. That said, it would feel that he would probably feel very comfortable going to the ground with you. Can you tell me a little bit about what your game plan is as far as the ground game if the fight goes that direction?
Well, I'll be prepared and for any situation this fight. I don't have like a game plan. I never bring a game plan for the fight. It's just not exactly what I'm gonna do in this fight, but I know what I have to do. I think about myself and my abilities, in my experience, not in what the guys he's going to bring to me. So my strategy is going out there and put in the show, put in my techniques, my versatility, my physical strength. So I don't think his ground game is going to be a problem. If he wants to go to the ground, I will thank him because I love it. If he wants to put me with the on the ground, like always I do, I pull on the guard and start to work. It was always like this, so this time won't be different. I'm ready for fighting, for stand up fighter, for a ground fighter. I'm just ready.
Awesome. And then last question for me. You alluded earlier that you feel as though you should be looking at a championship shot in the very near future. If for whatever reason that doesn't present itself sooner rather than later, who would you like to go up against in your next fight?
The guys that are above me in the ranks, or
Do you have a preference between the two?
we have Ben Henderson, we have Patrick Pitbull, we have Brent Primus. No, I don't have preference, but I think Bellator will match up the best fight for me. So I'm excited to see what is next. I'll be prepared and ready, whatever.
All right, Goiti, thank you for the time today and good luck on Friday.
Thank you so much. See you Friday night.
All right, we are now being joined by Kat Zingano. Once again, we're going to begin with a few questions from the media. Maria, your line is now live.
Hey, Kat, Maria Morales with Throwing Bows Podcast. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So just a really quick question for you. You're ranked, you're coming into this fight heavily favored. Tell me why this isn't incredibly dangerous for you going up against an unranked fighter in this fight.
I mean, fights can go any way, any day. Obviously, no one comes here to lose. Everybody comes here to win, and I realize that, and I respect that. And so I train for this fight as if I have, God, so much. It's so much to lose. She's got so much to lose too. I mean, it's very, very tricky here in the MMA world, and really anything can happen. And so I'm taking her very seriously, and I trained extremely hard. Did all of my due diligence on any mistakes that I've made that could be looked up, on top of, got my coaches to get me ready for the expected, for the unexpected, anything of that nature. So, it's a crazy matchup. It's a good matchup. It's a dangerous matchup, and I'm game.
One last thing. Earlier this week in an exclusive with Low Kick MMA, you talked about possibly doing a cross promotion fight against Miesha Tate that's now returning to the UFC. Are you doubling down on that after this win?
You know, who knows with these fights? I think right now I got to focus on this one. But, you know, when I see that kind of thing pop up and when I hear about that division getting all mixed up again, like, of course I'm thinking about it. I have wins over all of those people. Miesha Tate's about to fight Marion Renaud, and I have win over her too. So that's of course on my mind, and I see myself in all of that, and I'm very happy over here at Bellator. So it, you know, would obviously need to take some negotiating and conversations between people, but like I said, if they want to borrow me for a weekend, or if we can borrow them for a weekend, or however something like that would work out or need to be worked out, I think it would be great for the fans, and I think it would be great for all of us, because, you know, those are some great matches that have a history behind them and a lot of questions behind them too. So yeah, I think about it. I definitely have it on my mind.
Jay?
Thanks very much. And hey, Kat, welcome back. I want to build off that a little. I mean, it would be tough to see the UFC allowing something like that to happen. But one fighter who might be on the market is Megan Anderson. She appears to have parted ways with the promotion. If Bellator were to sign her up, is that a rematch you'd like to get back?
Of course, totally. I mean, she didn't touch a hair on my head, literally not one, just a toe in my eye. And they made a rule change after that, saying that is officially a poke. And I guess now there's a 5-minute time allotment, as the same thing as if you get a finger to the eye or something. So happy to be a part of history again in the sport, not necessarily in that disgusting way, but you know, it's something that I want to fix. I do think that you know, I was doing good in the beginning of that fight. I was feeling really good during that camp. This is my first fight up at 145, and got ready for it like a beast. And then, you know, it was just this weird, unfortunate ending that just feels very incomplete. So yeah, I would totally like to see that. And, you know, her fight versus Amanda was a very interesting one too, because I beat Amanda and Amanda beat her with this crazy ease. And there may be some nerves in there for Megan, but I'm sure that she's hungry to, you know, fix all of that herself. So yeah, if she comes over, I would definitely like to revisit that.
And one more for me. I mean, Leslie Smith was announced as the next contender for Cyborg's title. Were you a little surprised by that, given she's coming off one win, you're coming off one win, or do you feel that you maybe need another fight or two to really get in that conversation?
I mean, I'm okay with getting some more experience, especially because I had some time off before this last one, and I had a big surgery that I really needed to see who and what and how my body was after that. And I'm very pleased, you know, with how I feel and how I'm doing. So, you know, getting in and fighting for 15 minutes against the Gabinator was a very good experience and very good for me to do. And, you know, that exact same night was the night that Leslie fought, and she had a good win that night as well. So I realized that it was going to be one of us. I actually kind of expected for the winner of that fight and the winner of my fight to go against each other. So I did kind of expect this fight this week to be Leslie, but you know, they obviously needed to pick somebody to move forward with Cyborg, and I think that a rematch for them makes sense. And you know, I'm happy to take what I can from whoever wins that fight. And you know, cool, that's down the road, but right now I'm still very, very focused on this fight, and I realize none of that can happen unless I show up and do my best on Friday night.
Damon?
Kat, you know, coming in from the UFC to Bellator, we just saw the rankings get released recently, and it's kind of nice. You know, they've actually filled up the featherweight division with a lot of talent. You mentioned Olivia's coming in new, but obviously she has past experience. Is there kind of an excitement with this division that you actually have a choice of opponents? Because unfortunately, you know, we've seen with other organizations, you know, where it's like 2 or 3 people on the entire roster. It looks like, you know, Bellator is truly committed to featherweight.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it's super exciting. I mean, we're the big mama jamos, we're the big girls, you know, and like everyone's strong and everyone's tall and everyone's like beasting it over here. And it's a very deep division, and there's a ton of names and a lot of talent. And I just think it's great to be building it up. I think it's great to have so many options, so many looks, you know, and just that, like, it's just heavy, and everyone offers a different threat. You know, everyone has something crazy to offer here, and there's still so much to be written. There's still so many who versus who going on, where when I left the UFC, it was kind of between, like, there was always like this 5 of us that they were always talking about, even in the 135 division, and they were borrowing 135ers to go to 145, which, I mean, obviously myself included, but I mean, I've always been a huge 135er. So to go up to 145, I still have a cut, but it is like a much healthier training camp for me. So, you know, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see all these girls. Like, I have this like camaraderie that I can't really fully have because all of us want to beat each other up. So it's a very strange respect to have for everybody, but at the same time, like, I'm excited that we're all doing this together.
And I know rematches are always fun, especially when you get a chance to avenge a past loss, especially that weird situation with Megan Anderson, which, you know, a lot of people don't really consider a loss, but you know what I mean. But I'm curious, I don't want to keep harping on the same subject, but I'm curious with the Miesha Tate thing, because you have a knockout win over her. What is it about that one that interests you? Is it just because the controversy, like she said, that she thought it was an early stoppage, or what was it that makes you want to revisit that?
I mean, we don't have the best blood between us. I mean, there's some history there that'll probably make us never want to go get beers. But we a couple years ago, let's see. A couple years ago, I got asked by ONE FC to do a super fight jiu-jitsu match against her. And either I was about to have my surgery or I had just had my surgery, so I wasn't able to do it. So I knew that she had been itching. Like, I knew that she was starting to get the, I want to do this stuff again, you know, itch. Like, it's a hard thing to stay out of. MMA, fighting, training, the camp, like all of it. It's like this pain game. Like, you love it, but you hate it, and you keep coming back for more. So, you know, there's that. And then, you know, she had also said before in some some interviews that I'm the only person she would come back from to fight in MMA as well. Because she has that loss against me. And I know that there are some things that she had said as far as it being, I don't know, debatable, or she thought it was an early stoppage, or she thought something about a knee earlier in the fight that she was downed or illegal. But I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions for her for that fight, apparently. And, you know, I felt great with how it went. I actually was proud of us because we put on a damn good fight, and we hit every type of martial art that can go into MMA. And, you know, so to hear that she had any kind of bitterness about it was a bummer, but that, you know, also means that she's a competitor, you know, and she, you know, would want to fix something like that. So, you know, I'd give her that. And I would like to see what happens too. I mean, time is this wonderful thing between fights, and I've learned a ton. She's learned a ton. She's had breaks. I've had breaks, you know, and how cool. Like, we were the first fight, or the second fight in UFC history. We're the first women that got fight of the night ever. I was the first person first woman to TKO somebody. I was the first mom in the UFC. Like, there's so much history to that fight. There's Hall of Fame stuff in that fight. Like, how great to see it again and see what happens however many years later, you know.
We'll take a couple more here. Will?
Hey, Kat, thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
Will from the Fight Gods podcast. Looking back at your career, I see that there have been several times where you had kind of longer layoffs. It seemed like in 2018, you were back and you're going to be fighting a lot, but then we hit the pandemic. Is the weight cut not being as great helping you out, not sustaining so many injuries, training? And how many fights do you think we will see you in this year?
I mean, I would like to get 2 or 3 fights a year, but I mean, in my defense, like my road hasn't been an easy one as far as this MMA career. I mean, there was a year I fought 7 times in 5 tournaments, 5 jiu-jitsu tournaments. You know, there was years where I was able to do everything because I had the support. But please remember, in 2014, I had my knee exploded, you know, I lost my husband, and I'm raising a child on my own that's grieving. So I didn't really get to come back and do everything I wanted to, because it was more important to me to be there for my kid that needed me than to be there for fans that wanted to see me fight. So, you know, I had choices to make there. I never stopped training. But fight camp is a very selfish thing. Like, you have to be very involved in it, and it feels very terrible to be selfish as a parent. But, you know, I made it work when I could in the ways that I could. And, you know, I had an injury here or there. There was injuries that I even fought through that you guys will know about later, but I'll never tell you now. You know, and just life, you know, and I handled life, and I handled it on my own, and I handled it with the kid that needed me all of the time. And I don't regret a second of doing what was best for him.
All right, last one here, Dylan.
Hey there, Kat. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I was just wondering, because I was checking out an interview the other day you did with Mark Raymundi, and you were talking about how your son has reintegrated himself into training jiu-jitsu there. I'm kind of wondering, like, how does that inform your own individual journey as a martial artist, just because it's a generational thing now?
I mean, I love it. And I love that he loves it because of what it's offered me is so much, like it's this outlet with consequences, you know, and you get to sweat and you get to work hard and you get to meet so many people through it. And he moves just like me. Even at his age, he's a better athlete than I was. Like, it took me 10,000 times at a move that it takes him 10 to get it perfect, you know? And, he's very creative, and you know, we're super close. So be able to bond over this, and him ask me questions and me have the answers, like, feels so good. And on top of it, like, where we came from and the lineage of how we've gotten there, you know, it's quite a hard story. So for it to have this like positive outcome in this positive area where we get to feel good and connect over it and like remember things and like still use stuff that we got from before to use now, like it feels really special. And I'm super happy to have it with my son, and whatever he decides to do with it, you know, is up to him, and I'm going to support him no matter what. But it is very cool to bond with him. And I got my brown belt the other day, and I made sure that he was my first match. We had a match. As soon as it was tied around my waist, I went over and he put on his, and we had to go, just because I want that belt to begin with him, you know, just has all of this has started. So it's cool, and I'm really happy.
All right. Thanks a lot for the time today, Kat. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the look I was going
Next
for.
up is Dalton Rasta. If you have a question for Dalton, please press the raise hand button. We are now being joined by Dalton Rasta. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Maria, your line is now live.
Hi, Dalton. Maria Morales with the Throwing Bows podcast. How you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. So how much, I mean, obviously you know how to get it done in different ways, but you are a wrestler at your core in many people's opinion. How much do you think that your wrestling is going to be, number one, on display, and number two, a deciding factor in this fight?
I don't need to wrestle in this fight. So we'll see. We'll see how the fight plays out, but I see a first round knockout on the feet.
Fair enough. Thank you so much.
All right, Gavin.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so I have one question for you, and so you're coming into this fight undefeated in all your pro and amateur bouts. Do you feel like there's a little added pressure to keep your undefeated streak going, or is it nothing more than a number?
No pressure at all. I just, I'm going in there to get the win, take every fight one fight at a time. And, I'm going to go and get that win Friday.
All right, Brady.
Hi, Dalton.
How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm great.
Great. Does being a sizable favorite in this fight add on any pressure to perform?
I didn't even know anything about the odds, so I didn't know I was favorite. But
oh yeah, you are minus 700 as a break.
Minus at Jesus Christ. They're showing no respect to my opponent. I think Tony's a little bit better than that, but no extra pressure. Like I said, I believe I'm gonna get a first round knockout, and that's that.
Yeah. Excuse me. I have to correct. Minus 400, which is still
minus 400.
Very sizable. And do you believe that a win against Tony will put you in line for a top 10 fight at middleweight?
Absolutely. I believe I should be top 10 already. If anything, I feel like he should be in the top 10 too. He knocked out Joe Schilling pretty viciously. After I beat him, for sure, I'm going to be in the top 10. And I already got my eyes on a couple people.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Yep.
Dylan.
Dennis.
Not quite. Yeah. How's it going, Dalton?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I mean, you were just talking about your opponent, Tony, there. It seems like you have obviously a pronounced level of respect for what he's done. Hasn't been beaten under the Bellator banner yet, former vet of Strikeforce and Contender Series. Just on a level of his martial arts skill set, like what does he really bring to the table and like really excel at that you've noticed in your studying on him?
He's a good striker. He has some power, he wings a lot of shots though, and he makes a lot of technical mistakes. He leaves his hands down after he throws a lot of things. And I see a lot of mistakes that I can capitalize on the feet. And as I said before to multiple people, I think it's going to end in a first round knockout.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Ronald, go ahead.
Ron Smith from Getting Real.
Talking to Dalton Too Clean Roaster. How you doing, man?
It's Rasta, but I'm doing great.
My fault, my man, my fault. And now, man, you've been so confident to say that you're going to finish us off KO first round. What in your mind is fully painting that picture for you to say it's going to end like that, lights out?
One, as somebody said earlier, a lot of people paint me as a wrestler, which I don't 100% agree with, but in the media's eyes and the fans' eyes is really all that matters. But I think I've shown that I'm a complete mixed martial artist in all of my fights. And there's been a few fights where I put on a striking clinic, and this fight, I think with my opponent probably going in with that mindset that I'm going to try and wrestle him is really, really going to open up a lot of doors for me. And I think that he's going to make a lot of technical mistakes. And like I said, I'm going to get the first round knockout. And how I've been sparring, my training camp, everything's been clicking. Everything feels good. And based off of what my opponent gives me and how I've been training and my progression that I've seen in the past few months, that's where that confidence comes from.
Thank you very much, my man.
Thank you.
All right, last one here. Abraham?
Hello, Dalton. You're looking very sharp today, I have to say.
Thank you.
You've mentioned you've mentioned Dylan Dennis before, and you just mentioned him a few minutes ago. If he's not on the table at middleweight, who else would you like to fight?
That fight with Dylan Dennis isn't ever going to happen. He's scared. He definitely ain't going to come up to 185. And he's going to pick his fights, He's a businessman. He's going to pick his fights, and the fight is not going to be against me. He knows that's a risk, very high risk. As for other fighters, I got a few names in mind, but I plan on keeping those tucked away until after the fight.
Santiago?
Hi, Dalton. Thank you for the time. ATT is completely taking over with some amazing fighters like Cody Law, Johnny Eblen, Roman Feraldo, and of course yourself. What makes this gym so special according to you?
One, it's a huge facility. You got Dan Lambert, who invested so much into the business, and he's invested so much into his coaches. He has the best coaches there, along with the best facility. And that attracted a lot of the best fighters, and the more and more fighters that come there that are high level, it attracts even more, it's like a funnel for great fighters to come there. And we get a lot of different looks, a lot of great training, and a lot of great partners, along with the best coaches in the world and one of the best, if not the best facility in the world. So I think whenever you put that all together, there's no better gym.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
Tony?
Hi, Dalton. Looking very sharp this evening.
Thank you.
You talked about having the best coaches in the world. How instrumental has Anderson Franca been in your progress and success so far in your career?
He's been amazing, man. I can't give enough praise to him. He takes his time out of the day every single day to fit me in, multiple times per week. He really invests his time in me, and he's shown me a lot of new tricks to add to my game, add to my arsenal, things that, he's not changing my game. He's just tweaking things, adding a few new weapons and a few new tricks. And the progress I've made and the difference that these tweaks and these new weapons have made is it's crazy. It's an immense difference, and I think it's going to show this fight.
All right, Dalton, thanks for the time today, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, we are now being joined by Ryan Bader. We'll begin with a few questions from our media. Will, your line is now live.
Hey Ryan, Will here from the Fight Gods podcast. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. What about you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I just had a quick question for you. it seems like Bellator threw in a couple of guys that you had lost to in the past. Is this basically the Ryan Bader revenge tour?
Yeah, I mean, when they first filled out the bracket and I looked at it, I'm like, man, this is great for me because it's all about redemption for me, And then first fight out of the gate, Machida, guy that knocked me out in 2012. That's always one I wanted to get back, and so not only that, you have two guys on the other side that I lost to, one recently. And so, it'd be that much sweeter to not only get those wins back, but to do it in a Grand Prix tournament.
Definitely. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jay Anderson.
Ryan, welcome back. One of the things that I think of is you're one of the few people in the sport who has won a Grand Prix already, and that's regardless of promotion. I mean, it's not a common thing. What would being one of the few people to win a second tournament really kind of mean to your legacy?
Yeah, I mean, that would be huge. It's something that I don't know anybody has really done that, Granted, there's not a lot of Grand Prix, but I had so much fun in that heavyweight Grand Prix that when they asked me, if I would join this Grand Prix, I said yes, for sure right away because I love the format. It brings a lot of eyeballs. And I have the opportunity to do something nobody has really ever done. As becoming a two division champ once again and winning 2 Grand Prix.
Dylan.
Hey there, Ryan. How's it going?
Good. You?
I'm doing well, thanks. I was just wondering because just with this being a rematch, it seemed like the first time out there was a dynamic whereby Lyoto's range-minded style maybe frustrated you to a degree, and there was the rushing in kind of dynamic. Yeah. Do you think there's going to be that championship composure this time around, and is that going to be the biggest difference in the rematch?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what I was doing on my feet back then. I could hit hard. I didn't even have a jab, and so, for me, going against one of the better strikers at that time, it was one of those things where I was just, out of my league, and I didn't try for one takedown. I didn't threaten him with certain things, so it's a totally different fight now. That was lifetimes ago for me. I've grown since then. I became a champion, 2 division champion, fought, everybody in MMA, and have that experience, and so for me, yeah, I have to pressure him, but I do it patiently. I got to pick my times, and I've worked a lot of karate with a lot of karate coaches. I know what he's looking for, what I need to do to negate that, and so I'm feeling really good coming in this rematch.
Yeah, and just with the backdrop of that prior Grand Prix question, because I spoke with Demetrius Johnson recently, and he said his Grand Prix title was the, I guess, crown jewel of his career. How do you weight the Grand Prix championship you have versus some of the lineal titles you captured? Like, do you compartmentalize them in any kind of way?
Yeah, no, I agree with Johnson. Mine was really special because it was a chance to become a 2 division champion and the heavyweight champion and the Grand Prix champion. So when I won that, there was those 3 things on the plate. A 2 division champion, Grand Prix champion, and heavyweight champion, and I got to do it by beating Fedor. So it was extra sweet. But I loved the style of it. I loved knowing who I was going to fight, who I was going to potentially fight, when, and where I was going to fight. Whereas if you just have a title fight, you fight, and then who knows who's next? Who knows when you're going to fight again? It could be 3 months. It could be a year later. So I love the planning aspect of being in a Grand Prix.
Maria.
Hi, Ryan. Maria Morales with the Throwing Bows podcast. Thank you so much for the time today. I want to go back to something that you said earlier about the fact that the first time you guys fought, you really didn't know what you were doing, so to speak. You really, really strong, hit really hard, didn't have a jab, etc. And so obviously over this past almost decade, you've evolved. I'm sure that Lyoto has also evolved. And so can you talk me through maybe some of the things that you've seen in his evolution that you are either concerned about or you feel will actually favor you in this fight?
Yeah, I mean, the concerns are always, it's what he's always had. And that's, he's tricky. He's got speed, good timing, and that a lot of that comes with the karate. On the flip side, I feel like, he is getting a little older. slowing down a little bit and doesn't want to be in those tough fights like he was in the past, and going in there and really mixing it up with people. You see flashes of that, quite a bit still. He's very, very tough, very talented. So he's always going to be tricky. He's always going to be fast. He's always going to be agile, elusive. But I feel like I've grown so much, and and I have the ability to go out there and neutralize that and really bring that fight to him and put him in a fight where he really doesn't want to be in.
Mm-hmm. And with that, let's say you go on and you actually win the tournament, becoming two-time champ, two-time tournament winner. There's a lot of the champs going around in different promotions, with some being very active defending both belts and some not so much. If you are put in that position, what is your desire to defend both belts?
As much as possible. I've been trying to, but this whole thing with COVID and everything like that really put a damper on that. And that's what conversation with Scott Coker was, let's be active. Let's have 3-4 fights a year, but uncertainty stuff comes up, some variables were thrown in, and we're just doing what we're doing right now. I was thinking I was going to be, fighting for the heavyweight belt in March. But then this tournament came up, and then them going to Showtime and all that kind of stuff. So I'm willing and able to, so it's just kind of, we'll see what happens.
Tony.
Hi, Ryan. Hope you're well. We're seeing a lot of crossover with former MMA fighters, current MMA fighters moving into the boxing world. And with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua now booked, how closely are you keeping your eyes on that fight? And is a move to boxing of any interest to you in the future?
Yeah, I've been, I don't follow boxing too much. I've watched those guys, and definitely a fan. I don't know. I have a lot of things I feel like I have left to do in mixed martial arts. And so haven't really thought about that too much. Man, I would love to do a little crossover or something at some point, but it'd have to make sense, and I come from a wrestling background, I believe I can box, but that's a whole different world, and so everything would have to line up. But I have a lot more to do here. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Abraham.
Hey, Ryan, thank you for your time. Abraham from the Fightly Report. I was wondering, how have you evolved? Obviously, you've evolved in skills, but how have you evolved mentally, especially coming off a loss in your last outing?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my record, if you go through that, you see that every time I take a loss, I go on a great winning streak. I come back even better. And I haven't dwelled on losses, and yeah, it sucks. And a couple of days you'll feel bad. But you just fix it. You go in there and work on what you need to work on. And that might be mentally too, but for me, it's not beating myself down or anything like that. It's really building myself up and telling myself, just go have fun. There's one of my last losses I remember, it was Anthony Johnson. I didn't stick to the game plan, went out there, took a bad shot, fight ended. And after that fight, I said, you know what? It's all about having fun. That's when you fight the best. You go out there, you're loose and everything. And then, after that loss, I went on a huge run, so it's one of those things. I think I've lost twice since 2013, so take it, own up to it, and figure it out and come back better.
Steven.
Hey, Ryan. So Ariel, Pitbull was just on Ariel's show talking about the idea of cross promotion. He obviously had this great showing and kind of showed the world how great he is once again. You've been on both sides of the fence, promotion wise, and you've seen how the business works. What sort of a percentage would you give about something like that happening?
0, pretty much. It's one of those things like everybody likes to talk about. We do too. We feel like we have the best light heavyweight division in the world here. And I just don't think with UFC and Bellator that there ever be any cross promotion stuff willingly. It'll be guys fighting their contract out and going vice versa. But you're not in the near future. It's fun to think about, fun to talk about. How does this guy match up with this guy? Who's really the best in the world? But I really don't see it happening anytime soon.
What does that say about the sport to you at large?
It's a business at the end of the day. Different organizations are a business, and they have their TV deals and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to protect that business. And so at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's not about the sport, really. It's about the individual business and the sport within that business.
And have you taken a look at the rankings that they just released? And if so, what are your thoughts on them?
I mean, I saw some just on social media and whatnot. Thought they were pretty good, and it's good to kind of look down and see who's, who everybody thinks is, top 10, top 5 in your weight class, because obviously I'm in heavyweight and light heavyweight. So it was cool to see some of those heavyweights that I haven't really had my eye on too much yet. So yeah, it's good to see.
All right, we'll take a couple more here. Giancarlo.
Thanks. Hi, Ryan. Hope you're doing well. Before your last fight, you've been competing at heavyweight for a while, going to that Grand Prix and defending the title. Even though you lost your last fight, do you think that helps you coming into this Grand Prix, knowing that you have at least a fight at light heavyweight under your belt before coming into this?
Yeah, for sure. When your body isn't, consistently, my body didn't get under probably 225 really for, years and years. And then to all of a sudden, hey, we're going down to 205. It was a little bit of a shock, and so for me to be able to go down and make that weight, this time around, it's been so much easier on my body, mentality and everything like that. I'm sitting pretty right now weight wise, and I feel full of energy and feel ready to go. And so that's a huge difference for sure.
Thanks, man. All the best on Friday.
I appreciate it.
Last one here, Dylan.
Yeah, much has been made earlier about the rematch coming up here and the potential rematches for you in this tournament. But we also have another rematch in this tournament field with Nemkov Davis 2 going down for the light heavyweight world championship. You're familiar with both of those guys. So what are your thoughts on how the story of that fight, like how it's going to unfurl?
I've said this before, but I think, Phil Davis is definitely a dark horse in this tournament and definitely on that side. I feel like he can go out there and beat anybody in any given fight. He has a weird style. His wrestling's obviously great. A lot of power in his legs, and his stamina is good. And if you watch the last fight, it was a 3-round fight, and he had Nemkov exhausted at the end, so I wouldn't be surprised if Phil goes out there and beats him, to be honest.
All right, Ryan, thanks for the time and good luck on Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Next up is Jalen Bates. We are now being joined by Jalen Bates. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Jay Anderson, your line is now live.
Hey, Jalen, just a quick one for me. I mean, you came out in your first fight for Bellator, got the job done, and it's not often that an up-and-coming prospect who's debuting gets as much attention as you did, but you performed well, and I'm just wondering what your takeaway was from that fight.
My whole takeaway was there's a lot of improvements to be made, and
I was impressed that I got out there, got the win, got improved to 1-0 as a professional. But the fact that I didn't get the finish, it weighed a lot on my mind.
And aside from the finish, was there any particular area that you felt you needed to work on after that fight?
Absolutely. Position. When you're in this game, position wins the game. So if I'm in the right position at the right time, I can have the right tool for the right job.
Tony?
Jaylon, hope you're well. I just want to ask you, what did you feel as if the biggest difference was between your first professional fight and moving up from the amateurs?
That's a good question. Never thought about it. It was just maybe the pressure, maybe the cameras being there and everyone, you being directed more and it being more professional. But other than that, once that cage closes, it's all the same.
Martina? Martina, go ahead. All right, we'll move on. Brady?
Hello?
Go ahead, Brady.
Okay. Do you believe that your experience as an amateur will play a factor in the way that this fight turns out?
You know it.
And I have one more question, and that is, do you believe that you have the skills to deal with your opponent's power?
Absolutely. The whole game is to hit and not get hit. So if we're going to go out there and play a tough guy pissing contest, it's not what we're playing here.
Gavin?
Hi, Jalen. I just got one question for you. So I saw on your Instagram that you posted about your brother serving in the Marines. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is your one of your biggest motivations?
Yeah, I mean, I love my brother. I just do it to motivate the youth, really. He's 3 years younger. We didn't really grow up in sports. I was the first one to start wrestling out of my family. He followed me in that, and he did well. And yeah, so I would say I'm doing it to motivate him.
Dylan?
Hey there, Jalen. How's it going?
Howdy.
Now, I'm noticing your opponent here has a pair of LFA bouts to their credit, and then the last outing there, a 10-second knockout in the first round there. I'm kind of wondering what your thoughts are on just their skill set overall and what they bring to the table as a martial artist.
That's amazing. I think him bringing a different aspect of the game, like power in his hands, is amazing. But when you're locked in there with me, it's different.
Thanks for the time, man.
Thank you.
Abraham?
Hello, Jalen. This is Abraham from the Fight Elite Report. I wanted to ask you, you started your amateur career in 2017. What exactly got you hooked into wanting to compete in MMA? Because it does take a different type of person to get into a cage and fight for a living.
Well, that's a long story. You can tune into my podcast for that. But basic layman's terms is I'm different. I've always been different, and I don't have a box you can put me in. You can't put me in a box. So that's what made me go to fighting, because I would try to fit in here and then get kicked out, try to fit in here, so then I would just attract my own people who were good. And that's what it's about.
Maria?
Hi, Jalen. Maria with the Throwing Bows podcast. So you mentioned earlier that, the whole goal is to hit and not get hit. And you don't feel threatened at all getting into this pissing match, so to speak, with another striker. That said, can you tell me a little bit about what you think are the holes in his striking game that you plan to exploit?
He has none. He's perfect.
But seriously, though, because if he's perfect, you can't both be perfect. So what do you plan to take advantage of in this fight?
Tune in Friday, and I promise you'll see.
I'll hold you to it.
Thank you.
All right, Jalen. Thanks for the time today, and good luck on Friday.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, we have Caspel. All right. And if anyone has a question for Cass, please press the raise hand button. All right, we are now being joined by Cass Bell. We'll begin with a few questions from the media. Tony, your line is now live.
How are you, Mean Green Fighting Machine?
Hey, I'm good, Tony.
Good, good. It's often said that you learn more in defeat than in victory. Do you agree with that? And if so, what did you learn from your last fight?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I definitely believe in that. What I learned my last fight is, Stotts had a lot of good, obviously good grappling, good control too. So he really, was able to pick my game apart a little bit here and there. So I learned a lot from that. I actually learned some of the stuff he was doing that you guys will probably see this fight too, that I'm going to bring with me now to the table. And also too, like really it was this, I'm getting older now, so I can't just all of a sudden start training, like I took 2 months off before that fight doing nothing, and then I got that call 4 weeks before, which is really 3 weeks, and to take that fight. And of course I'm going to take the fight, especially when I was told I wasn't going to fight for like a year. So getting back in shape, that was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And then going in that fight, it was, I definitely was not in any shape to go, but I made it almost the full round, all 3 rounds. And so with my performance, I was actually a little good with it.
Thank you.
Gavin?
Hello. So I understand that you're coming off your first professional loss to submission back in mid-2020. Has this affected your mindset in any way, or are you not fazed by it and you're just ready to jump back into the win column?
So I wasn't, obviously, I hate losing obviously, but I don't think I was too affected about it besides, making sure I'm training and making sure I have a full fight camp, like I said before, it was only, 4 weeks, but really only 3 weeks of actually training and stuff. Cause we stay here for a week. So with me, like how I look at it is I saw Stotts at his best because he was able to train the whole time and not take any days off. Myself, I couldn't train. So he saw me at my worst. I saw him at his best. So hopefully one day I'll get that rematch as long as we both keep winning and, and get that loss off my record.
Dylan, go ahead.
Hey there, Cass. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good.
And it seemed like you'd seen the initial Bellator rankings list per my post there in the Bellator MMA News Facebook group there. I'm kind of wondering what your thoughts were on your placement in the hierarchy and just facing a guy who's ranked at number 10 here in the fight coming up.
So I'm actually like really stoked because we all know I did lose my last fight, in Bellator. And so to still be in or to be in the ranked in the top 10, I was stoked. I was super happy. I was like, what? This is awesome. And it's cool because it gives me a goal, gives me goals. Like now I have a goal of what I want and what I need to do, to get down there, chip away at these fighters that are ranked higher than me and then, and take them out. I am fighting a guy who is ranked number 10. It's cool to see that he's also in the ranked division, that I get to fight another rank opponent. So I'm actually pretty stoked about it. And, I can't wait till, Friday night, April 9th.
Yeah. Thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Brady?
Hey, Cass.
Hey.
Have you paid any attention to the odds coming into this fight? And do you feel that you should be an underdog despite all of your experience in the Bellator cage?
So let's see. I haven't really seen the odds. I've seen the odds on like Tapology, and they actually had my opponent winning, ahead. But that's how it always is in pretty much all my fights that I've seen, at least on Tapology. And I actually like it. I love being the underdog. If I am the underdog, I just love that challenge. Yeah, I've always been the underdog pretty much my whole whole life, fighting in the game, because we never really took any easy fights, even when I was amateurs. So I'm looking forward to it.
Abraham?
Hey, Cass. You mentioned in your last fight you didn't get to train the way you wanted to going into that contest. But for this fight, how has the training been, and how has the training camp treated you?
Oh, it's been awesome. I'm back on a real training camp now. Obviously, we still have COVID stuff, so we're still wearing masks and stuff like that. But this time, no days off, and was able to train, for the full 2 months, really get back in shape. I feel great. I feel fast, feel quick. I was able to lift weights too. Last fight camp, there was no weightlifting. It was just trying to get my cardio on point. So it was just a lot of running. And then, like I said, I've never took 2 months off in my whole entire life before of training and fighting. I've took like 2 weeks off, but never 2 months. And as the older I get, I'm realizing I'm not young anymore. I have to, be in the gym nonstop. I have to, just do everything a little wiser now. And yeah, so I'm stoked for this fight camp. I had, a lot of my teammates there, not everybody, but I had most of my teammates there. So that's what's a lot different than last time. Last time it was just my head coach and my teammate Tyson Miller, and you realize those are big guys, so it's a little different, but they're tough. And so, but it's nice having more of my size guys there. They have a lot smaller, my guys have a lot smaller necks and all that good stuff. So this fight camp, I feel great, and I'm on weight, or, I'm getting my weight down, feels good. I've been eating, I'm doing a whole new kind of weight cut program, and I feel good. So I can't wait.
Steven?
Hey, Cass, Steven from MMA Fighting. Since we last spoke, have you stopped any more crimes or saved any more people?
So there's been some close calls, but yeah, everything's been good so far. I haven't had to, save anybody, or my girl hasn't had to help anybody out yet. Good. I mean, it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure, but I guess an hour before our flight got delayed, it's coming to the event. And then there was a big accident on the highway, and it kind of happened, I guess, within the hour of when when we would have probably been there on that road. So who knows what would happen? Either maybe we would have been in that accident. It was a huge accident, or maybe I would have got there right before and been able to at least try to help, someone, in that accident or something. But there's been some close calls. I know, I might have already told you this, but the couple days after that, I was walking to the gym because it's right down the street from my house, and there was this car speeding, and this big truck, huge work truck, big old dump truck, was pulling out on the opposite side, and this car had a slam on its brake, and I'm just trying to get to, to go coach the kids and stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to be late if I have to go help someone now. And they had to slam on the brakes, swerve, and they came like a foot away from hitting this big truck. And I was like, don't hit it, please don't hit it. And luckily nothing happened, but there's been some close calls.
All right, good man. Head on a swivel.
Thank you. Yep.
Maria?
Hi, Cass. Maria with the Throwing Bows podcast. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Maria?
All right. Thank you so much for asking. So it appears, you stated a couple of times that you felt really good in this camp. You had a really strong camp, but was there anything in particular in Lugo's skill set that you felt yourself really focusing on to prepare for this fight?
Yeah, so he has a lot of good skills, he's good at controlling, especially on the fence and stuff, for his takedowns. He likes to, he likes to switch stances from orthodox to southpaw and stuff. And he has some, good, decent hands. So, I had to focus, we focus on a lot of what he's good at, that's what we focus on. And then also what we focus on too, is what he's weak at, what we see holes in his games and, stuff like that. But yeah, so definitely know how to work on, defense for getting taken down. Cause he loves to keep it standing, it looks like. And then also he loves to, get you on the fence and try to, break you down and get you down and try to control you.
Awesome. And if you're able to pull out the victory this weekend, who would you like to see next in the rankings? Somebody had to ask it, so might as well be me.
Yep. I was waiting for that. So, I mean, I'll fight any of them in the top 10. I'm down for that. I'm super excited. There is a, ranking division. So who I really want to fight. I mean, I definitely want my rematch with Stotts, but I want like 2 more fights before I do that. Just to get my game back and just get everything, I have a lot of work to do, and so So my next guy, I would love to fight James Gallagher. I don't think I don't think he's on my level, or I think it's going to be a good fight too at the same time. Just depends on where we keep it. On the ground, he's a good ground guy, but standing, I think he can't stand up with me. So I want to go for James, but there's a big list for Gallagher. Everybody wants to fight Gallagher. So who knows if that's going to happen.
All right, Cash. Thanks for the time and good luck on Friday.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next up is Cody Law. All right, we are now joined by Cody Law. Begin with a few questions from the media. Tony, your line is now live.
Hi, Cody. Hope you're well. On paper, you and your opponent are very evenly matched. You're both 2-0 in your professional career so far. With MMA sometimes being a battle of inches, do you feel that having already gone through the process of a Bellator fight within the COVID bubble will give you a slight advantage going into this fight?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I feel like I probably have a home field advantage here. I've been here 3 times in the past 5 months, so I'm pretty comfortable. So I don't know that I need that advantage, but I think I have it.
Thank you.
All right, Gavin.
Hi, I'm Gavin Austin with Behind the Grind, and Cody, your opponent has a total fight time of below 2.5 minutes. Does his ability to finish fights that quick and easily scare you at all?
No, of course not.
No?
I'm never scared.
Okay, I have one more. Do you feel that you're going to try dragging the fight on a little longer to test his gas tank, or battle with him on the feet to see who can get the quicker finish?
I'm just going to do what I do. Whatever happens, happens. If it's a striking match, it's a striking match. If it turns into a wrestling fight, then that's fine too. I don't really have a plan like that. I'm just out there and reacting to whatever happens.
Abraham?
Hello, Cody. This is Abraham from the Fight League Report. You and your opponent are both undefeated, and you both have finished every opponent in your professional careers. How do you see this fight happening, and do you predict this fight will end and not go to judges' scorecards?
Yeah, I think that I'm going to get the finish in this fight. That's the goal every fight. I think I'm gonna make him quit. I don't think he's fought anybody like me. I definitely don't think he's fought anybody like me, and I think I have what it takes to make him quit. That's my fighting style. I think he'll give up.
All right, Brady.
Does training at ATT give you confidence coming into this fight?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll always be confident, but the people that I'm surrounded by at ATT definitely it gives me an extra level of confidence. I have great coaches, I have great training partners. I'm sparring with some of the best fighters in the world on a regular basis. So of course that helps me feel like I'm fully prepared.
All right, Cody, is your focus solely on this fight, or are you already looking ahead to the next fight after this?
No, I'm focused on this fight for right now. Of course, I've got goals for the year, for the long term, but right now it's just horse blinders. I'm laser focused. I'm looking to give my best performance yet this fight.
Santiago?
Hi, Cody. Thank you for the time. You fought twice in 2020 and you did that within 2 months' time. Now you are back again soon. Can you feel it as well that Bellator is giving you a lot of opportunities to grow and climb your way into the rankings?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm really happy with how things are going right now. Bellator's been taking good care of me. They're keeping me busy, which is number one to me. So, yeah, it's good. I want to keep this rolling.
ATT is completely taking over in Bellator. Roman Feraldo was in your seat last week and he only said good things about you and about your fight style. What makes ATT so special according to you, and who's going to be in your corner for this fight, Cody?
Man, the reasons why ATT is so special, I could sit here and tell you all day, but you're just surrounded by people that are super passionate. It's only people that really, really want to be there. The world's best coaches, the world's best fighters, they all have the same goal, and there's a wealth of it. What was the second question?
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Oh, my corner. It's going to be Mike Brown and Isaac Greeley.
All right, and then last one for me, Cody. Your last fight, you got to finish in the 3rd round. But after the fight, you were a bit disappointed that you didn't get the finish earlier and you didn't really expect that the fight to go as long as that it did. What did you make of that fight in the end, and how do you use that to prepare for your next fight?
Yeah, looking back on it, I'm actually kind of happy that in the moment I was disappointed, but looking back now, I'm happy that it went that long because I still got the finish, but I kind of got a 3-round fight in me. So I know what it feels like, and I learned a lot about what I need to get better at. So going forward for this fight, I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Good luck on fight night, Cody.
Thank you.
Maria?
Hi, Cody. Maria with Throwing Bows Podcast. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. As my peers have alluded to, a lot can be made coming into this fight. The fact that you're both relatively new fighters with just 2 professional fights under your belts, and that you guys have finished and put on some spectacular fights. Do you feel that for you, being the one that's been in Bellator the entire time, putting on these great performances, do you feel like there's extra pressure for you to perform really well in this fight to ensure that you can start to climb up in the rankings?
No, I don't think about those kind of things. I'm laser focused on what I have to do, and the outside circumstances are irrelevant to me.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take 1 or 2 more here. Ronald?
Hello, Cody. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Can't complain, man. And now, as for yourself,
Going into this fight during fight week is always normally the hardest time, just dealing with weight cuts and just getting yourself laser focused for the main goal. So for you, how do you keep yourself on the goal without getting into your own head?
I'm just focused. I've got years and years of experience. I'm mentally tough. I don't know. I mean, it's not something that I have to think about. I just am who I am. I'm focused. I don't get nervous. I don't get worked up. I'm just here to do my job.
Thank you, man.
All right, Cody, thanks for the time and good luck on Friday.
Thank you.